Good afternoon. My name is Andy Hallman. Later, we'll hear results from recent SEC baseball games. But first, today's top stories. A special guest paid a visit to Jefferson County over the weekend to learn about the little community south of Brighton called Polishville, the destination of Polish immigrants in the 19th century. The special guest was Consul General of the Polish Consulate in Chicago, Dr. Paweł Zizak. Zizak had just visited a group of Polish Americans in Nebraska when he stopped by the Polishville Community Center Sunday afternoon to meet with members of the Polishville Association, tour the museum inside the community center, and visit the adjacent grotto and cemetery. At the museum, Zizak learned about the Polish language church that once stood nearby called St. Mary of the Immaculate Conception Catholic Church that was built in 1882 and burned down in 1971. Stones from the former church were used to construct a grotto devoted to the Virgin Mary that was built at the site of the old church in 1982. At the cemetery, Zizak saw tombstones with inscriptions in Polish. Zizak's visit to Polishville was made possible by Konrad Sadowski, a history professor at the University of Northern Iowa, who is also a native of Poland. Sadowski wrote a history of Polishville that was published in the Southeast Iowa Union in March of 2023, and that's how Polishville got on the Polish consulate's radar. Sadowski said a member of the consulate reached out to him to say that Consul General Zizak would like to visit during his tour of other Polish settlements and meetings with Polish Americans. The Fairfield Public Library hosted a kickoff party for its summer reading challenge on Saturday, June 1st, with free food and activities. Hy-Vee served attendees a free lunch, and Utterly Epic Desserts gave free ice cream to children who signed up for the library's summer reading program. Despite a slight drizzle that morning, children were able to enjoy outdoor fun thanks to a bouncy castle and bubbles. Inside, at least a dozen organizations set up booths in the library's meeting room where they advertised their summer activities. Youth Services librarian Sarah Martindale said 172 kids signed up for the summer reading challenge that day, and that, as of Wednesday morning, kids had already logged over 16,000 minutes of reading through the library's Beanstack application. The last day to record minutes in the Summer Reading Challenge is August 1st, because the following day at 2 p.m., the library will host a drawing for raffle prizes. Martindale will also have chalk for kids to decorate the library's sidewalk. An unnamed tributary to the English River, roughly 2.5 miles long, flowing by the east end of Riverside and under Highway 22, will get its title soon thanks to a legacy project of local 4-H group. Riverside Enterprisers 4-H Club president Calvin Meller said members had spent weeks brainstorming names, then narrowing their list down. The group plans to decide this month between the 3 names still in the running. Members wanted their options to include an animal, historic information, and a community theme. The 3 options left are Bobcat Creek, Lincoln Gate Creek, and Enterprisers Creek. The endeavor started with an unrelated project of the Washington County Soil and Water Conservation District. Commissioner Kate Giannini said the group was placing signs identifying creeks throughout the county in an effort to raise awareness of drainage and water runoff issues. Bob Yoder has won the primary race for Washington County District 2 Supervisor, defeating challenger Jake Snyder. The win sets up Yoder for a near certain re-election in November, where no Democratic challenger has registered to oppose him. The incumbent of 11 years campaigned largely on his experience, despite criticism claiming that he was underprepared for meetings and seldom took a firm stance on issues. Most voters seem to side with Yoder's pitch. However, in a 149-50 tally, according to unofficial results announced by the county Tuesday night. The result came after an initial unofficial tally also reported Yoder's victory, but failed to include any absentee ballots. Incumbent Henry County Supervisor Chad White and newcomer Steve Detrick snagged victories at the polls Tuesday evening in the only contested race in Henry County. Tuesday, June 4th, the residents across Henry County reported to the polls to cast their votes for primarily uncontested races. However, 4 candidate names appeared on the ballot in hopes of nabbing one of the 2 open Henry County Board of Supervisor positions. As a current supervisor, White was a frontrunner in the election and received 686 total votes throughout the 9 precincts in the county. Detrick wasn't far behind with a total 542 votes cast in his favor. Behind the winners, votes for Dan Cook totaled 427, and votes for Dave Muse totaled 295. Voters cast 3 votes for write-ins. The winners of uncontested county races include Robin D. Detrick for county auditor and Richard McNamee for sheriff. While county and state primary candidates in Henry County primarily won their races without opposition, the race for District 1 United States Representative did feature 2 contenders, incumbent Marionette Miller Meeks and David Potch, and Miller Meeks won the primary vote for the Republican Party. Families from all over Henry County and beyond learned about a variety of summer activities as they strolled through East Lake Park Sunday afternoon for the 3rd annual Stride into Summer family walk. Families made their way along the walk, reading the story Up, Down, and Around by Catherine Ayers, with illustrations by Nadine Bernard Westcott on large laminated signs provided by H.J. Nugent Public Library of New London. The story is a part of the library's summer reading program, which they shared about on a stop along the walk with Mount Pleasant and Winfield's public libraries. As the families took in the story, they learned about a variety of vegetables and all the ways they grow up, down, and around before needing to be harvested. This story, featuring healthy food, fit right in with the whole intent of providing not only a healthy activity for families last Sunday, but a focus on summer health and safety as well. Those are today's top stories. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll hear a report on recent SEC baseball games.
Federation Bank is a locally owned bank providing award-winning customer service. We believe that we are more than just a federation of banks, but a federation of communities, serving Brighton, Richland, Wellman, and Washington, Iowa. Federation Bank's highly skilled staff is here to make sure you are able to accomplish your personal and professional goals, whatever they may be. Federation Bank, your family bank.
Welcome back to Newsbreak. This is your sports editor, Andy Krutz, here with your sports report for Friday, June 7th, 2024. What a switch up on that one. We had a big night of SEC baseball and softball action. The season is now 2/5 of the way through. And in baseball, the Mount Pleasant Panthers are still 6-0, an 11-4 win over Keokuk last night. That keeps them in first place in the conference. The Panthers got a good pitching outing by Peyton Higgins and 3 RBIs from Higgins as well to knock off Keokuk. That's a sweep. Mount Pleasant has now swept Washington and Keokuk in conference play. They'll play Burlington next week, defending SEC champions. And speaking of Burlington, the Fairfield Trojans last night, they have only lost 1 in the conference, and the Trojans beat Burlington 7-5. It just seems like Fairfield is on a roll right now, heading into a series against Washington next week. And for the Trojans, a 2-hit day from Dane Burkhart, a 2-hit day from Caden Allison, and a nice pitching outing from Nate Consul and Aiden Westerkamp. Got some pretty good pitching performances in this series. Fairfield sweeps the SEC champion Burlington Greyhounds As I said, they will play Washington in their series next week. Washington Demons came about this close to getting their first win. Lost by 1 run last night, 4-3. Their first SEC win, sorry. Lost by 1 run in Fort Madison, 4-3. That means the Demons lose all 3 to the Bloodhounds. They're now 0-6 in the conference. They're going to try and get a win against Fairfield next week. But in softball, it is quite a different story. Washington now 6-0 in conference. The Demons had to battle out a softball win 6-4 over Fort Madison. Washington actually had a 6-0 lead in this one. Fort Madison scores the last 4. But Demons hold on in that one. Washington 6-0 heading into their Fairfield weekend, and they will be they're tied for first place right now with Burlington. And we also got a win out of Mount Pleasant softball last night. Panthers first SEC win under head coach Derek Coleman, a 10-3 victory over Keokuk. Maya Starr with the complete game victory, and Keegan Coleman had about 3 or 4 RBIs in that one for the Panthers. Big win for Panther softball. And the Fairfield Trojans traveled to Burlington. Remember, Fairfield played Burlington pretty close in Game 2 in Fairfield on Monday. Lost 2-1. This time they lose 5-0. So pitching-wise, Fairfield's doing an all right job. Trojans just cannot get those runs against the defending Southeast Conference champion Fairfield Trojans. By the way, Leah Helmick, who held Burlington to just 2 runs the other day, pitches a complete game in this one. So pretty nice outing for her again, but no win for the Trojans. They are now the only 0-6 team, and guess what? Fairfield will be, if you've been paying attention, playing Washington next weekend. But before that can happen, the Trojans are currently holding their home softball tournament. And in this 8-team tournament, one of the bigger tournaments in Southeast Iowa at Fairfield, they'll use 2 fields for a tournament between area teams. Cardinal, Mount Pleasant, Fairfield, and Van Buren County also there. Sheraton, Central Lee, Grinnell, and West Burlington. That's a 2-day tournament. We'll see who is crowned champion tomorrow. Cardinals ranked. That's a really strong team going in. I think Sheraton won that one last year. Van Buren County just had a big win over Highland the other day. So and West Burlington's ranked. So a lot of competitors in that one. And we'll have an update for you on that one on Tuesday's News Break and Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk. But for today, that's all the sports we've got. When we come back, Alex has your obituaries.
In the heart of rural Iowa, where community matters most, the connections we make are made to last. Meet KCTC, your hometown internet, phone, and TV provider. At KCTC, we're not just about technology, we're about people. Our dedicated team are your neighbors, committed to bringing you top-tier services right where you live. We believe in giving back to the community that raised us. Experience the power of a real connection with KCTC. Join us in building a stronger, more connected Southeast Iowa.
Hello and welcome back to Newsbreak. It is now time for your obituaries. James T.R. Pfiffer of Washington passed away on May 30th at the age of 73. Funeral services were held today at the Jones and Eden Funeral Home. Franklin Russell of Washington passed away on June 4th at the age of 91. David L. Fuller of Washington passed away on May 30th at the age of 83. Memorial service will be held on June 10th at 10:30 a.m. at the Murphy Funeral Home in Mount Pleasant. That is your news for Southeast Iowa. I've been your host, Alex Snyder. This has been your news break, and I will see